Net migration falling is surely a good thing. We should thank Rishi Sunak for the changes he made in 2023 and 24 that tightened up the conditions for entering the country. At any rate, Daisy seems to be wagging her tail, so I have a feeling she thinks that the reduction in net migration is a good thing. But let's see if she's still wagging her tail when we look at the figures in more detail. What has actually happened? Who has gone and who has come? Why, to start with, is net migration declining a good thing? Well, we've had too much migration in this country. People didn't want it, they didn't vote for it. In elections since 2010, they voted to control our borders, and they were clearly out of control. This indicates we're getting back some control. This reduces the pressure on housing. It ought to mean we need to build fewer houses, ultimately. It reduces pressure on the NHS, it reduces pressure on schools, it reduces pressure on the roads. It also limits the cultural changes that people have been concerned about, have felt have been too rapid. And to tie in with what Shabana Mahmood said a couple of weeks ago, it's very helpful in ensuring a stable society at ease with itself when borders are controlled. So net migration falling is in principle a good thing. But, and I'm sorry there's a but, I don't always wish to be Mr. Gloom Buckets, but we need to look at who has gone and who has come. Because what we've seen is significant net migration of British nationals, and particularly of young British nationals. Net migration of British nationals was 109,000. But that slightly understates the problem, because of those who left, of the 252,000 who left, 68% were aged between 16 and 34. Why does this matter? Well, the people leaving between 16 and 34 are likely to be our most highly educated, the strongest future earners, the people who will drive economic success for this country in the decades to come. And they are leaving the United Kingdom. And why are they leaving? They're leaving because they don't view this country as a land of opportunity anymore. They may be doctors who can't get work in the NHS because of crazy employment practices that the NHS has. They may be scientists who are leaving for better opportunities in the United States. They may be students turned down for social engineering purposes by our great universities, going to the universities in the United States that are at least as good, if not better, than our own great universities. They are likely to be the cream of the crop, the most entrepreneurial, the most driven people. So losing 250,000 people, as I say, 68% aged between 16 and 34, is extremely unlikely to be economically beneficial for us, and is a reflection on the economic policies of Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer, policies that have made us a society that backs the skiver against the striver. The more we know about the budget, the clearer it becomes that this was a deliberate political choice of a socialist government to give more money to people who they think of as their voters, to give more money to people on welfare and take it away from those who are working hard. The additional tax they've decided to put on students by not uprating the level at which you pay back student loans is another reason encouraging students to leave, because the marginal tax rate they will be paying here, especially in real terms when you take into consideration fiscal drag, means that going abroad becomes simply more attractive for anyone who's going to make a success of his or her life. Budgetary decisions are effectively driving the most talented, or at least some of them, out of this country. So that's not good news. Then we should look at who's coming in, because it's record numbers of asylum seekers. 44% of net migration is asylum seekers. Now, think of the people who are leaving, the people who are the most driven, most likely to be successful, the people who are going to earn their living in the future. And who are we taking in? We're taking in people that we house in hotels, and the numbers have gone up, or we house in private rented accommodation, people who are a cost to society. The cost of asylum seekers, according to the ABR, is going to go up by another £1.5 billion. This cost borne by you, the taxpayer, and that's going up because we are taking in more people because the government has no policy for dealing with them effectively, and they're deporting fewer of them. Only marginally, it has to be said, that they deported 2,852 against 2,932 the year before. But it's a decline in deportations when the number arriving is increasing. So as a percentage, it's an even bigger decline. And this is an absolute failure of somebody who said he was going to smash the gangs and stop asylum seeking being a problem. It is becoming a worse problem and is changing the mix of people who are coming in. What do we need to do? Well, we need policies that encourage people to stay. We need lower taxation. We need lower public expenditure so that the gap is narrowed between expenditure and revenue by saving money, not by taxing more. That will encourage the young to stay, will make them feel that they've got an interest in the success of this country and that they can share in it, that they can be part of it and that they can make their fortune here. They can do the Dick Whittington stuff here in England without having to go abroad. That should be a very important first stage. We need to encourage economic growth by deregulation. It's marginally good news that the employment rights bill is being watered down a bit, but still it's a bad bill that is making us a less competitive economy, a lower growth economy. Those sorts of things need to stop. But on the other side of the ledger, we need to secure our borders. We need to stop people getting in who shouldn't be here, and we need to stop bogus asylum claims. And indeed, almost all asylum claims in this country are not the first safe country people are in. And to do that, we must pull out of the European Convention on Human Rights, and then we must implement policies that ensure that people are deported when it's realised that they are here improperly. That means removing boat people as soon as they arrive. It means something like the Rwanda scheme to ensure that the incentive to come to this country is not there. The pull factor is undermined. To make that happen efficiently, but also to make it harder to get indefinite leave to remain, make it harder to get permanent British citizenship, make it much harder to claim benefits if you are in this country illegally, irregularly, improperly. You should not be able to claim benefits, nor should your children. That should fall on private charity or on the community that you belong to. Immigration in itself is not a bad thing. Many people have moved around the world and have contributed to their new societies. There's no harm in that. And we want to attract certain people to this country. We want people who will help grow the economy. But we don't want very many of them. We don't need huge numbers of them. We don't want people who come here illegally, and we don't want to lose the best and the brightest. To do all this requires fundamental policy change. And there is no sign that Labour is going to understand this, let alone deal with it or tackle it. Indeed, the budget is going in the wrong direction. All the rewards are for those who don't want to do anything, not for those who do want to do things, and they have no effective means of removing people who are here improperly. It is one of the great challenges. And what's so important is people often say to me, it's not immigration that people are worried about, it's the economy. But the two are symbiotically linked. You can't talk about how you make the economy work without talking about how you deal with immigration and vice versa. So this has a strong economic impact. Losing our best and brightest is damaging. Taking in endless asylum seekers is a cost. So we've got to get it all right. It's a great challenge. But these figures, when the ONS has helpfully given an age breakdown, gives us information that we didn't previously had and may make it easier to have better policy making. As you can see, as I've gone through this, Daisy has stopped wagging her tail. It is pretty gloomy stuff, but there is always hope that we can do better. Thank you for watching.